about the controversy over coal here lately, possibly. And I know we've all seen these Friends of Coal stickers on the back of vehicles, because this is Southwest Virginia. That's basically the job around here, is coal mining. And so I figured, with controversy about it now, since people have been laid off and there have been coal rallies and everything, I would talk about a coal strike that happened back in 1989. And it was with the Piston company that was within Southwest Virginia. United Mine Workers of America were involved in it too. And they were with Piston. And the reason they started striking was because Piston didn't want to pay fair wages to their workers, and they didn't want to give them good benefits to their families either. And so it made things difficult for their families because it led to no jobs for over 1,000 people. It resulted in protests, which were peaceful at first, and it eventually ended up in people being taken to jail. Like, they were arrested and taken to jail. And so coal prices were declining. People lost their jobs to replacement workers, and all their retirement and health care benefits were cut. So people were getting angry. And according to Adrian Beer, coal prices declined dramatically, putting economic pressure on Piston. And in order to bring those numbers back up, Piston started hiring workers who worked for less, known as scab miners. And you see here it says nothing lower than a scab except a union scab. I mean, these people were mad that they were bringing in other people to work their jobs for less pay when they should have been the ones getting the benefits. And so, after that, with the scab miners, Piston also, they'd been working with the Bituminous Coal Operators of America, who regulated the health care and retirement plans for Piston. But since Piston was losing a lot of money, they terminated a contract with them. And they created their own health care and retirement plan. They established two different ones. One for the workers who retired before 1974, and one for the workers who retired after 1974. In addition to the new plans, Piston changed their health care plans, since they was going into debt. To avoid further debt, the company doubled their deductibles, they lowered coverage from 100% to 80%, and they discontinued benefits for those who retired before 1974. And as if the company wasn't in enough trouble and getting bashed on enough, they decided to keep the mines open 24/7 in hopes of profit going up, and nobody got overtime. When the time came to renew their health care retirement plans, Piston refused. They left the refusal left over 1,500 people without benefits. After the layoff of over 1,000 people, they decided to strike. At the beginning, miners and their supporters staged peaceful protests by having sit-downs. They just sit in the middle of the roads. And according to my father, who was part of the strike, they wanted to emulate influential leaders like the UMWA leader, Richard Trumka, who made differences. My dad said that they had sit-downs and they had chants, they had signs saying, and they had shirts. I brought my shirt, it's in my bag. And the miners and their supporters also sat in the road blocking the coal routes. So that way they couldn't get their loads through. This is the shirt. It's really old. According to Richard Brisbane, groups of people called wildcat strikers turned peaceful protests into violent protests. They vandalized the trucks, they broke their windows, they pelted them with rocks, they slashed their tires. They had things called jack rocks, which are like nails that they kind of like just molded together, put under their tires so they'd have blowouts on the way to the coal. And shots were also fired during this whole thing. Not directly at people, but in the air to get their point across that the wildcat strikers were not playing around. And after all this, there were over 4,000 people arrested because of the wildcat strikers. And my uncle, well, my great uncle, was one of those people arrested. He wasn't the violent one, but they decided to arrest this violent and non-violent. He is about this big, about this big. He's a big guy. And it took 4 people to carry him out, one under each arm, one under each leg, and he was smiling and grinning from ear to ear the entire way out because he thought it was so funny. And so, in February of 1990, Piston and the UNWA finally came to a settlement. The current members would gain their benefits back. Retirees before 74 got their benefits back, and the mines were open 7 days a week, but they weren't open 24 hours a day anymore. And both Piston and the UNWA were in debt for millions of dollars for the whole strike. Although tragedy struck, it's amazing what the power of people can do. Southwest Virginians made a difference in standing up for their jobs, their ways of life, and standing out for future miners. And hopefully the people today can do so as well.